What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another War Thunder video. Today we're taking out the Panther A. This is a German medium tank with a new battle rating of 5.7. It used to be 6.0, and it has been for quite some time, but they decided to move it down to 5.7, and it still gets the APCR, but as you can see, I'm not taking it. I'm not taking the APCR, I'm just sticking with the regular APHE shell, as it does just fine with it. Now, I am in a two-man squad, and the person I'm squatted with is Shiz. He's a streamer, and because he was streaming at the time, he did a lot of talking. He was talking with his community, and because of that, his audio pretty much dominated the video. So what I did was I simply muted all of the audio until I've got time to install Voicemeter Banana, and that allows me to separate the game audio from his audio and my microphone audio. It's a great little program. I used to have it installed, but that was many formats and reinstalls of Windows ago. So you don't have any audio except for my voice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to balance the discussion between where I think the Panther should be and what I'm doing here in the battle. I'm in the Panther A, Shiz is in the KV-220. We're both rushing for the Bravo point so that we can get some early spawn points. And I see a tank up here in between these two buildings, and he's going to pop out, or another vehicle is going to pop out to the right. Take a shot at him and miss, but Shiz obviously knows that he's here, so he's on alert. Again, he's in the KV-220, a very well-armored vehicle, and pushing around here. Obviously an M18 here. He backs up in between the two buildings, and there he is. Let's get the track on him. So he's undeniably screwed. Shiz pushes around front. I just go right around in here in between the buildings, and we just sandwich him. Poor guy. M18, it just doesn't stand a chance against the KV-220 and the Panther A. It's just not even fair. I was going to back up and get into the cap, but Shiz spots an M18 over here to the left in between some buildings. Puts a shot into him. I rotate my hull, find him, get a shot into his gunner in horizontal, but Shiz finishes him off with a hull break shot into the engine compartment. I turn around to get into the cap while Shiz reverses to get into the cap, and he gets taken out by an M42 Sherman further down the road from where the M18 was. In anticipation of the Sherman pushing out for me, I rotate my tank and turret and prepare for an ambush, as you never know when the Sherman's going to push out. Now, the Sherman's just kind of chilling back there while I'm getting the cap. I'm going to take this little downtime to talk briefly about the Panther A, and frankly, I don't think it belongs at 5.7. It was fine at 6.0. What I'm noticing is a lot of M18 games. The Panther A versus M18 isn't even fair. The Panther A is an excellent tank. It is, in my opinion, the best regular tech tree version of the 75mm armed Panther. I feel it's better than the F, the G, and the D, of course, the D being the first one, and it's just an awful tank. The thing about the Panther A that is best is the rotation speed of the turret. With an experted crew and a fully upgraded Panther A, you're looking at 22.6 degrees per second of rotation speed. Combine that with the 14.1 second rotation speed of the F Panther, the 18.8 degrees per second of the G, and the measly 5.6 degrees per second of the D. To me, there's really no comparison in these tanks. And of course, there are other differences with these vehicles. For example, the side armor on the F and the G is a little bit thicker at 50 millimeters. The D gets 40 millimeters, just like the A does, but the D does get 20 millimeter thick track armor on the side that is optional. So the D model isn't completely terrible, but it's really the turret rotation speed on the D model that really makes it suffer. It's an awful tank, in my opinion. and that's why I feel it belongs at 5.7 alone. Leave the Panther A at 6.0, and you'll be fine. I'm just pushing along because there's really nothing else to do in the city. My guys have surrounded A. I'm just pushing their sniper spot over here, taking out an M26 who is not paying any attention. And speaking of not paying any attention, here's an M18 on the sniper spot. I'm what, 100 meters from you, and you don't hear my gun go off? And here we go. Fast rotation speed. I'm able to get my gun on this Comet. I can light him on fire. He has no clue as to where I'm shooting him from. Finish him off with my second shot, and just continue push on. And you'll notice a lot of the vehicles that you've seen in this battle are 5.3 and 5.7. That was kind of the theme for the night. Shiz and I played 10 battles together, and I'm gonna save the results for later. But the tiering was pretty consistent. I did see an occasional M26 and a T44 when Shiz switched to Germany. But all in all, it was pretty consistent 5.3, 5.7 tanks that we saw. And it's so easy to take down these vehicles with the Panther A. Not once did I fire APCR. I don't even have it in my lineup because I don't feel it's necessary. But when you're at 5.7 now, this is the kind of tank lineup you see. You see a lot of Comets. You see a lot of T25s. You see M18s. M18s are just everywhere for the United States at 5.3. If you played that tier, you know it, and it's still true today. Things just have not changed, and that's kill number 7. And how difficult was that? It's really steel clubbing with the Panther A. The turret rotation on this is so damn nice. It's not nearly as slow as the earlier Panthers, like the D, where you feel like you're in a Panther. The only time you feel like you're in a Panther when you're playing the A model is when you reverse, and it's just agonizingly slow. Now, as I did my scan to the right, I neglected to see a Japanese tank slinking in between some buildings from that spawn. And he's setting up a nice little ambush shot, because for whatever reason he knows exactly where I am. As I push out to take down this Chaffee, he fires a shot into my side. Beautiful shot, right into the side of the hull. A cheery 2. Doesn't get any better than that. Perfect shot, man. In our second battle, we're on LL Main single cap conquest. IS-1 sees me, but he aims too high. My shot was right on the money. His shot could have penned me, but he was just a little bit too high. You know, he overestimated the distance I was from him by probably 200 meters. Well, Shiz is battling a little bit closer to the cap than I am. I'm saving myself, or excuse me, I'm being a little bit more cautious. I've got good armor with the Panther A, as I've mentioned, but I don't have supreme armor. You know, this isn't like a heavy tank destroyer like a Jagdtiger or something like that, where I'm pretty much invulnerable. Another vehicle pops up. Take him out. M18 again. That was pretty much the theme of the day. And here's the strongest tank that I saw pretty much all day. That's the M26 Pershing. He and I would get into what would be like a 3-minute battle, back and forth, both of us shooting at one another. Some of our shots would miss, some of them would hit. And that shot that I landed was probably the most damaging shot that either of us would hit. That there, bounce, bounce, bounce. Neither one of us was willing to fully commit to a battle to one another. And I honestly, I love that, because neither one of us was stupid. We were cautious and very smart. We weren't willing to throw away our life. We weren't willing to compromise ourselves for just one kill. That's fairly rare. It seems so many people are just very, very aggressive with their tank and make foolish decisions, all for one kill. I just don't think that that's worth it. So we fast forward a little bit, and I heard a shot come out just in front of me to my right. Push up, and it's an ARL. Put a shot into his turret, taking out most of his crew. My hope is to get past this guy and to get around towards that self-propelled anti-air gun that is to my back right. You should be able to see him on my mini-map. Well, he's been pinging the map. He's got something down there by him. At the time, of course, I had no idea what it was. But I'm going to try to get that in that direction. But I'm not 100% sure where everyone is. There's still a lot of people left. And again, I don't want to drive to my death just to help out one teammate. An SPA of all things with a vehicle. And this guy, for some reason, he was firing his machine guns from behind cover. So when he came out from behind cover, I knew exactly where to expect him from. PT-76, that was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. And then I get shot from this ridgeline way up here. You can barely see him. That was a nice shot. He must have rangefinded that, or he's used that spot before. So after repairing, I had moved on towards this guy, this SPA. He's been pinging the map like crazy to help out with whatever he's got. Obviously, he's not able to deal with everything being in a AAA, but hopefully I can get in. And here it is, T-3485, being a little harassing SOB. There's kill number 5. Now we can turn our attention back towards the north side of A, where there do appear to be some tanks still. There's 2 tanks that got pinged up here, a third one closer to the spawn, and so that's where I'm headed. Got hit with artillery. Shiz is up in the air. He's trying to spot vehicles for me, and he's actually going to save me here in just a minute. Because up where that SPA is being pinged on the minimap, there's a tank destroyer, an Su-85. Now, if I had pushed up here without any care in the world, I would have been killed in all likelihood. But Shiz alerted me to his presence. And right here, I put the brakes on because I'm not 100% sure of where exactly he is. And thankfully, someone else on my team finds him and kills him. And a NAS1 finds the an SU-100, my bad. Either way, that would have been bad news for me. I would not have survived that. And speaking of surviving, as I push up, there's another tank. You see him on my right? A T-3485. Thankfully, out of the corner of my eye, I spotted him. And I tell Shiz about him. Of course, Shiz, unfortunately, he misunderstood where my description is. So I had to deal with him myself, and that's not a big deal with the Panther A. That guy would have easily killed me. 85mm to the side of the Panther hull. Yeah, that would have been bad news. Now Shiz is doing some aerial reconnaissance. He's not only doing damage to the enemy tanks, but he's also providing me with information. You know, how many tanks there are, where they are, how many crew are left, that kind of thing. If you're in a squad like that, you can really help one another out with some really important intelligence. You know, if you can help someone out by informing them of what you're facing, where that tank is, and all that kind of information, that's immensely helpful. So if you're in an opportunity to squad up with someone, do it. Especially if you can do voice comms. Like I said earlier, Shiz and I used Discord, but you can use whatever voice comms programs you have available to you. Now Shiz says there are 3 tanks. An IS-2, an IS-1, and I believe a Challenger. The Challenger, you can see, just got marked in the back. He's practically in their spawn. I want to see where the other ones are, because I don't want to shoot at the Challenger and then I'm getting shot by one of the IS tanks. Once I see where they are, I take out the Challenger and reverse to deal with the IS tanks. That's kill number 7. Let's see if we can get our shot on our IS. Trying to find out if I can get a shot over or under or whatever, and he bounces on me and he reverses behind the cover, and I can't get my gun to quite settle down in time. So I aim a shot just over the rock, take out a couple crew members in the top of his turret. And the friendly will come in and clean up the kill for me. A Tiger 1 taking out the IS-1. Nice. That would be the last shot I would take in the battle, as I think there was only an IS-2 left in the area. The M18, I'm not sure where he was. But yeah, that would be the last of this battle. All in all, not a bad battle. 7 kills, a couple of assists. And this match was pretty typical of what we faced. Shiz and I played 10 battles together, and we won all 10. How crazy is that? And part of that is teamwork. The other part of that is the fact that this is now a 5.7 tank. Put it back at 6.0, you're going to get more challenging matchmaking. You're going to get a greater challenge that is more indicative of as far as how good this tank is. Now here are the results of the 10 matches that I played with Shiz. And prior to that are the 12 matches that I played. I believe some of these are solo, some of these are with a squad mate when that tank was at 6.0. Personally, I think there's a pretty stark difference between the matchmaking now and then. And it's all because of a simple 0.3 change. Obviously, a squad mate for all 10 games matters. And this is a small sample size, so this is not indicative of the entire War Thunder community. All we have to go by is what Thunder League offers, and that's even itself is a small sample size. I think what will happen in the end is either the Panther A will get moved back up to 6.0 in, say, 6 months or a year, or Gaijin is going to absolutely lose their marbles and move all the other Panthers down to 5.7. At this rate, there's no telling what's going to happen. But all I can do is report my experience and let you guys decide for yourself. Right now is a really good time to play the Panther A if you haven't. If you haven't upgraded yours, now's a good time because, like I said, matchmaking is very favorable. You will occasionally get 5.7 up-tiered to 6.7, but you don't have to worry about 7.0 matchmaking anymore, as that's not possible, as this is no longer a 6.0 tank. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, click that thumbs up button. And, of course, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Take care, guys.